This might be a dumb question, but what does the CPU even do in terms of gaming? I mean, it's a good question, but do you want the long version or the dummy version? Dummy, please. I thought so. So think of the CPU as the brain of your entire gaming PC. It handles data like where players are, AI behaviors, game logic. Then it will create a blueprint or a recipe for your GPU to render out an image one frame at a time. Okay, so let me get this straight. So the CPU is working the data for the first frame and then sending that over to the GPU. And while that GPU is rendering out that first frame, the CPU is working on the second frame. Kind of, sort of, but we have to include one more factor into this, which is called render queue. Now, this part is super important, especially if your GPU is the bottleneck. Since we don't want the CPU to constantly have to wait for the GPU to finish its job, we have something called a render queue, which is sort of like a bucket where the CPU could store around 1 to 3 frames ahead of time while your GPU is still working on that first frame. This is so that we don't have your CPU just not doing anything just because your GPU is taking a little more time. Unless it's a competitive esports title where the graphical work is light and we want to prioritize high FPS, then we try to keep that bucket as empty as possible, so we do minimize latency.